declared it exquisite and pointed it out to my parents, who looked at each other in a worried way, thinking, no doubt, that I was having a nervous breakdown. Which I suppose I was. Certainly something very odd was going on. It was the birth of my obsession with materials, starting with steel. I suddenly became ultra-sensitive to its being present everywhere, which, indeed, you realize it is once you start looking. I saw it in the tip of the ballpoint pen I was using to fill out the police form. It jangled at me from my dad's keyring while he waited fidgeting. Later that day, it sheltered and took me home, covering the outside of our car in a layer no thicker than a postcard. Strangely, I felt that our steel Mini, usually so noisy, was on its best behaviour that day, materially apologising for the stabbing incident. When we got home, I sat down next to my dad at the kitchen table, and we ate my mum's soup together in silence. Then I paused, realising I even had a piece of steel in my mouth. I consciously sucked the stainless steel spoon I had been eating my soup with, then took it out and studied its bright, shiny appearance, so shiny that I could even see a distorted reflection of myself in the bowl of the spoon. "What is this stuff?" I said, waving the spoon at my dad, "and why doesn't it taste of anything?" I put it back in my mouth to check, and sucked it assiduously. Then a million questions poured out. How is it that this one material does so much for us, and yet we hardly talk about it? It is an intimate character in our lives. We put it in our mouths, use it to get rid of unwanted hair, drive around in it. It is our most faithful friend, and yet we hardly know what makes it tick. Why does a razor blade cut while a paperclip bends? Why are metals shiny? Why, for that matter, is glass transparent? Why does everyone seem to hate concrete but love diamond? And why is it that chocolate tastes so good? Why does any material look and behave the way it does? Since the stabbing incident, I've spent the vast majority of my time obsessing about materials. I've studied materials science at Oxford University, I've earned a PhD in jet engine alloys, and I've worked as a materials scientist and engineer in some of the most advanced laboratories around the world. Along the way, my fascination with materials has continued to grow, and with it, my collection of extraordinary samples of them. These samples have now been incorporated into a vast library of materials built, together with my friends and colleagues, Zoe Laughlin and Martin Conreen. Some are impossibly exotic, such as a piece of NASA aerogel, which, being 99.8% air, resembles solid smoke. Some are radioactive, such as the uranium glass I found at the back of an antique shop in Australia. Some are small but stupidly heavy, such as ingots of the metal tungsten extracted painstakingly from the mineral wolframite. Some are utterly familiar but have a hidden secret, such as a sample of self-healing concrete. Taken together, this library of more than 1,000 materials represents the ingredients that built our world, from our homes to our clothes to our machines to our art. The library is now located and maintained at the UCL Institute of Making. You could rebuild our civilization from the contents of this library, and destroy it too. Yet there is a much bigger library of materials containing millions of materials, the biggest ever known, and it is growing at an exponential rate. The man-made world itself. Consider a photograph of me drinking tea on the roof of my flat. It's unremarkable in most ways, except that when you look carefully, it provides a catalogue of the stuff from which our whole civilization is made. This stuff is important. Take away the concrete, the glass, the textiles, the metal, and the other materials from the scene, and I'm left naked, shivering in midair. We may like to think of ourselves as civilized, but that civilization is in a large part bestowed by material wealth. Without this stuff, we would quickly be confronted by the same basic struggle for survival that animals are faced with. To some extent, then, what allows us to behave as humans are our clothes, our homes, our cities, our stuff, which we animate through our customs and language. This becomes very clear if you ever visit a disaster zone. Thus, the material world is not just a display of our technology and